he just had. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand, and we can, we can unmute you, or you can ask them in the chat, and we can read them out on your behalf.
Ooh. Ooh.
There was an ask for you, Alexei, to just speak slightly slower.
Less French, maybe.
You have a lot to cover, but yeah.
It's hard to do when you're passionate about something, I find.
Oh, I have to tell myself all the time to slow down, and I speak English, so get too excited. Looks like we have Alask. Yes, one question. Any plan for a rollback netcode in the multiplayer API? When you say multiplayer API, are you talking about any form of solution there? If so, I don't know about netcode for entities. I believe they have a form of rollback, but rollback is just a way to like resolve synchronization. So typically, when you have client prediction, the client predicts what's going to happen, and then the server reconciles that. And if there's a discrepancy between the two, then you have to decide how you want to resolve that discrepancy. So rollback is a very traditional way to do that, where you just save the frame and then replay it. There's nothing built in to netcode for game objects to handle rollback, but there is a way to do it. Turbo Golf Racing did build their own netcode solution, and there's support for it. We've definitely been focusing more heavily on investigating client prediction, because that's just a little bit trickier to sort of track than the rollback itself. The rollback is, once you have all of the prediction and reconciliation built in, the rollback is just replaying those frames. So it's not really the hard part. It's the client prediction part that's hard. So we are looking at it, but it doesn't. Netcode for game objects doesn't support it right now, but netcode for entities does support prediction and rollback.
Awesome. Looks like Lord Bailey has decided to join us on stage. I believe they have a question.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys deal with like the whole engine side of things or not, but the only thing I really want to ask Unity is to make some kind of dynamic system for the tags and layers, so you don't have to keep deleting them. You can actually just go in there and like rearrange it instead of having to delete it and re-add it, re-add it. It would be especially helpful like when you're dealing with a lot of tags or a lot of layers inside of a game.
Yeah, I hear that. As a hobbyist myself, I find that very frustrating. Um, it's kind of outside the
Yeah.
purview of the multiplayer team, but of the tools that we've been looking at building and that are in experimental and stuff like that, if there is the concept of like tags being brought up or layers being brought up, everyone's always like, well, we can't implement it that way because we have to avoid that approach at all costs in any future stuff. So I don't know about fixing it right now, but it's certainly something that we take into account with everything else that we design.
Cool. Thanks, Lord Bailey, for
Yeah,
joining us.
generally, things that I okay.
Nope.
All right,
No.
thank you.
Go on. I didn't want to interrupt you. Oh, he left. There might be a delay. Oh, and we have him
Yay.
back.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I don't want to intrude too much.
No.
Generally, I hope that whatever happens with networks from game objects, that it's as simple as like how Mir has it set up, where it has like the tags for like owner or client RPC, server RPC. I'm not sure. I haven't really delved too much into network for game objects, but that's where my main specialty is. Generally, the only thing I really want from Unity is just like, because we have a lot of tools that constantly come out and things that we're developing, I guess, as an engine wise, I would like to see like quality of life improvements. I know we did like this visual update, but things like tags, layers, generally things like that, finishing up a lot of the tools that have already been promised that haven't been fully finished yet. Like the terrain system with like adjusting how it was supposed to be. You got to download packages from GitHub and all these like little weird things with nav meshes and 2D nav meshes. Those are the things I think generally like 99% of indie developers absolutely need right now.
Hello.
I'm gonna try out networks game objects, but it's just right now Mir's doing pretty fine for me. But I hope whatever you guys do there, that it's fast, that it's easy to use, and I don't have to take forever to try to like learn this whole big thing. And I hope the documentation behind it's really good. A big factor I find on a lot of these like third-party assets like Steam Complete and stuff like that is sometimes the documentation's really, really hard to get through, and for new people coming into something, it can be a real turnoff. Like make them, get stressed out and then completely quit game development. And I've ran into that several times with new developers. They just want to get started. So hopefully the documentation's good, and hopefully we start seeing more finishing of the features that have already been promised and that kind of end of things. That's generally what I wanted to say to Unity.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I'll definitely do my best to surface some of this feedback internally to our teams, like our UI teams, and the ones that it's more relevant to. But documentation is a big one. We hear that a lot. Community managers were. We try to keep an eye on things happening here and on our forums, and documentation is like a race we're always running. It's like, as we update things and the documentation then has to be updated. It's constant back and forth there. So yeah, definitely valuable and valid
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah. Generally just just generally I know like as Unity as a company is trying to compete with Unreal. And I know that like it's nice to like always be introducing these new features, but I think it's actually come kind of a joke now, really. Like new feature comes out, Unity doesn't finish it, then they move on to the next thing. Like I think right now as an engine to really compete against Unreal and these other engines like Godot coming out, we have to make sure that the engine features that are there are completely flushed out and that they're actually useful. That's just it. I don't have much more to say than that. I think everybody, Unity team, are doing a great job.
Like I said, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and feedback with us, because it is valuable and is valid, and we do want to hear that kind of thing from everybody. So awesome, thanks.
We did have another question from Smash. This one was related to physics. Replicated physics have been typically been quite a challenge with fairly detailed write-up available by the Rocket League team. How well do these systems work together in Unity's newer approach to multiplayer?
Should define what you mean by newer approach to multiplayer. I don't think we're introducing any new networking concepts with either of our multiplayer solutions. But I do know that the netcode for entities framework, tech stack framework, which is obviously built differently from the game objects one, has determinism in their physics, which basically means that when you know that it's going to execute itself in the same way, given the same set of parameters every time. So that helps with the client prediction side, which basically means that what you're synchronizing or what you're predicting, either on the server or locally, will have the same result no matter how much you're putting in. So I believe that is what you mean by replicated physics, but I am, full disclosure, still learning all of the exact terminologies for every different networking solution. As far as the netcode for game objects is concerned, we're still looking at different ways to handle physics. Right now, for the Ship of Fools, they do have some like lightweight 2D sort of physics that they're doing. If you're not familiar with Ship of Fools, it's kind of like a semi top-down game. So the physics is a bit strange. It's kind of things drop, but you're fully in 2D. So it's like a little bit of some physics there. And they did solve a lot of the replication of the physics across the network via client prediction, but it really depends on how accurate you need your physics to be. Not everything needs to be deterministic. If you're developing a game that's super, super physics-based, physics is the core mechanic of the game, then you're gonna want lots of determinism and to be able to replicate that accurately across all the clients. But if you're developing something where people are just picking up and throwing things on the ground, then you don't really need to be super accurate as long as it's like in the general same position when you're done.
Speaking of replicating physics, I'm going to try to slow down, by the way, is that actually turbo golf racing is definitely trying to solve these physics replication issues across, between clients and servers. So again, watch this part when it's going to be available on YouTube. It's a very interesting solution to this problem. Actually, where I am, I have the mic, and everyone has to suffer my French. I see a question related to analytics from Hoka Latte, I guess. You spoke about analytics over a long period post game launch. Is that something that can be added later to game life cycles, or like better to have it? There is no yes or no answers. Obviously, when you launch a game, so you want like a decent set of analytics, at least a basic set of analytics that's going to help you to know how your game is performing. How is your player happy? Do you have any drop, somewhere in your game? But if then you're going to start refine those and keep adding those. So my answer is like, yes, you need analytics, but you don't need a full set of analytics metrics covering the entirety of the game. The reason why is just because you don't know yet. You just know you want to cover the basics. And it's never too late to start slapping analytics over your game. It's always something that you can add because you're introducing a new game mode, or you start showing some emergent behavior from your players, and you want that to be something that you're able like to track. So again, the answer is like you will start small, but you start to grow over time, even after launch, or way beyond launch. It's the same like for the product we are developing ourselves. We always start with a small set of like KPI. We can track through analytics, and we keep adding more as we watch our customers are using our product.
Awesome. Yes, definitely some good stuff there. Definitely back that up with your analytics, definitely get that implemented. Anyone else have any more? Let's see what questions we have. Does Unity have numbers behind how many MAU there are on average for UGS multiplayer servers for games using them?
It really depends on the customers. On one hand, we have people like Apex Legends. Those guys are like millions of billions. They have millions of like monthly average users. And on the other end, we have tiny customers with like maybe a few hundreds of like concurrent users at a time. So the scale vary by several magnitudes of orders. That answers your question.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those. It's kind of tough to, it's a case by case basis. Sounds like.
The TLDR is that we cover from at any any end of the scale. That's we can support both of them.
Awesome.
Let's see. I think we got one from Drod here. Oh, sorry. No, am I reading the right one? No, LS. That was the one I was thinking of. Seems like they had another question for the netcode team here.
Yeah, from Alesks, it said, for now, the netcode for game objects implementation assumes that there is only one local player connected to the network. But when doing hybrid multiplayer with multiple local players on the same computer with multiple gamepads, connecting to an online arena for a party game where they will meet more players, there's no simple solution out of the box. Do you plan to handle this kind of situation in the future?
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to picture that like gameplay in my head. This actually sounds kind of fun. I don't think I've actually played that before though, but I'm sure there are examples of games that do that already. I would say that there's no out of the box solution like built into the netcode tech stack itself, because I think that your question is a little bit more like gameplay specific, but I think there's definitely room for us to put together a tutorial or a sample that would do this situation. So basically what you're asking for is multiple local players that then connect on. So it shouldn't really matter how many quote unquote local single players you have, as long as they are sending packages out at the right rate to the right either peer-to-peer connected players or server. So in this case, it would probably be a server that would then connect everybody. So instead of having a single player
so
that's
sorry. I
connecting
thought I
out to
muted
a
this
server,
shit.
you would have multiple inputs being sent out. So it's not too complicated to do. It's just not a scenario that we've ever had defined before. So I'll write it down as something to look into for a sample. We could certainly support it in netcode for game objects. There's nothing preventing us from building something out like that.
Someone compared it to Smash Bros, something like that, like a hybrid situation. I could see a sample project around that being pretty popular.
Like Smash Bros. Yeah, I'm just trying to like follow the chat here. It's so fast.
Yeah. I know, I love it. Like everyone's really active, which is great. They're
something like that. Okay, yeah, I'll have to look into more of how Smash Bros is built, because I thought since it's a fighting game, it's built. I'm trying to think. It may just be a lot of different multiplayer sessions, and they're just hiding how you connect and disconnect really cleverly. That's one approach to it. But it could also be something the way that Alice was describing.
awesome. Do you have a suggestion for implementing voice chat in a netcode session in WebGL?
So for voice chat, I would look into Vivox. And then for WebGL, we are supporting that in newer transport releases. So between the two, you should be able to put together something that works. But I think maybe Alexi can talk to a bit more to the voice chat side of things.
Yeah, no, I think you got it. I'm not sure. So, to be honest, I'm not a Vivox expert, so I'm not sure if Vivox works with WebGL specifically. That's something you might need to look into the documentation of the Vivox website. Thank you, Trey.
Yeah, I just dropped a link to Vivox, so people could check that out, learn a little bit more about it. In the chat, drop that link. Oh, look at that, Antonia. One of our dev advocates is here in the chat. She can't talk. It's a little noisy, she says. I think she should definitely join us on stage, though, even if it is a little noisy. Does anyone else have any questions for Alexis or Kiki? Tonia's coming to the chat, stealing all our thunder.
In the meantime, we also posted a link to learn more about developing a multiplayer game, so you guys can check that out or write it in the chat.
Hey, there you are, Antonia. Hello.
Hey!
Hello.
It's a bit noisy here, so yeah, tuning in from GDC. Hi everyone. Didn't mean to steal anyone's thunder, just thought I'd tune in because I got a little notification that you guys have gone live. So yeah, I thought I'd drop in and say hi and see what some of the questions are. And we're setting up the booth today as part of the expo, so it's very cool seeing kind of behind the scenes and seeing all the other exhibitors all setting up their booths and demos. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions about what's going on or just anything at all, let me know. But also, yeah, I'm mainly here to just like vibe and listen in.
Yeah, no, it's cool. We were, like I said, I just had, we had Alexi and Kiki for 30 minutes, and then we kind of have, I was going to try to get them to stick around a little longer or as long as they want to answer some questions until we have our next speaker coming up at 2 o'clock. So, but yeah, thanks for joining and let us know how it's going there. I said, I don't mind a little bit of background noise. Like I said, we're living vicarious through you all who are at the event. So, there's no background chatter for us, but it's kind of cool to, live through you and you being there.
Well, I figured, like it's very important to me that everyone gets a bit of access to the event because this is my first GDC, and it's actually my first tech conference at all of any kind. So before this year, I'd also never been to a hackathon. I went to MIT Reality Hackathon, which is like an XR specific hackathon at MIT this year in January, and I was a mentor. So I went from not even attending a hackathon to like mentoring at MIT, which was quite a leap, but it was great. My background is not very traditionally technological. I don't know how many people kind of know, but I come from a background in zoology and animal behavior, actually. So the person who works in the zoo and says like, here are some fun facts about the animals. That was my job for a while, and I went from that to science centers too. I've been a communicator for a long time. I was a TED speaker as well, so I've done a TED talk and stuff like that. And yeah, I moved into technology through basically learning to code from YouTube. And that was kind of just before the pandemic, like about 9 months before the pandemic started. So I didn't really go to many events in my early tech career, and then the pandemic obviously stopped me from going anywhere. So now everyone's sort of re-emerging, and it's my first opportunity to kind of actually go to these things live. So because of that, I really understand that like not everyone can go to something like GDC. It's in a specific location. Not everyone can travel. Not everyone has the money, and it's expensive and things like that. So having things like this where people can tune in and kind of ask questions, and I think that's extremely important. Like all of the advocacy I've done has basically been online, and I think that's amazing because I can reach people from all kinds of countries. I did a 4-part series recently on building multiplayer games with netcode for game objects, and at the start of every session, I'd say, "Oh hey, where are you tuning in from?" And we had everything from like Nepal to India to Australia to Singapore to the UK, America, like South America, just everywhere I can possibly imagine. So it was really, really cool. So I'm a big fan of like online engagement. I think you reach a lot of really cool people that you might not otherwise be able to. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm really glad you're here.
Well, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Antonia. It was really cool. Like I said, this is sort of giving everyone that experience of like being there where you kind of wander by, right? And we're having these conversations and you can join us and tell us a bit about what's going on at the event because we're not there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say today I've been mostly setting up the Unity booth. So we've got loads of different demos. It's super exciting. So I've been mostly there. There are different kind of dev summits today. So I haven't actually been able to attend any of those, but there's lots of different developer like talks and gatherings. Some of them private, some of them are public. GDC has like different ticket tiers. So you can have like an all access pass or an expo pass, or exhibitors get to go wherever. So yeah, it's been interesting to kind of learn how it works. The queue yesterday was crazy. I don't know if anyone else has mentioned this, but like, oh my God, the queues are so long. But yeah, I think this year in particular, like, everyone has really turned up and turned out. So yeah, I only actually got my pass today, got into the building today, and I've mostly been setting up the booth. But I think things like really kick off. The expo kicks off tomorrow, and that's the part with like all the exhibitors and the booth and everything else. So yeah, that part is like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday is a special student day, so it's more inexpensive to attend on a Friday, I think. I'm not an expert on how GDC works, but this is my understanding. So yeah, a lot more students come on the Friday apparently, and I'm actually giving a talk on the Friday, which is a panel about careers in real-time 3D technology and like different pathways into those careers. So I'll be speaking a little bit about what I said about my journey and how I'm very self-taught, and that I think other people on the panel, they all do very different things. I think we've got Joy Hovarth and Thomas Winkley, and a bunch of other amazing people. So we'll be doing that talk on Friday morning. So yeah, it's super fun to do.
Well, we're going to be doing this Discord stage, throughout the rest of the week from GDC. I have a schedule posted up, but I can also hit you up and let you know. But you're more than welcome to come back and join and talk with us and talk with everyone and share what you've been doing at GDC. So like this one in particular, we're talking about the Dev Summit talk about multiplayer. So
oh, amazing! Right. Okay.
Kiki and Alexis is here.
Multiplayer actually, like I can kind of to some degree speak to that. I'm quite new to multiplayer. Like this 4-part series that I did was really my first kind of experience of building anything with that code for game objects. So that was was really eye-opening. I've mostly been a single player kind of gaming developer. I focus on VR and AR is my specialty, so I've done a lot of development there. But yeah, like I'm happy to answer to within the boundaries of my knowledge on multiplayer. But as you said, Alexis is here to like answer in more depth, I think.
Yeah, I think Kiki was going to talk about a post-UNET question that we had come up.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I joined the team post UNET, so I don't have a whole lot of history with that. I also as a hobbyist, my multiplayer journey kind of started, I want to say in the beginning of 2022. So again, as a developer, don't have a whole lot of experience on that. I've mostly netcode for game objects, and the dots ecosystem is where a lot of my experience comes in for netcode architectures. I think one of the biggest changes between netcode for game objects and UNET is that UNET didn't have a whole lot of integration with our services. We didn't have a whole lot of sort of look at it holistically from like an end-to-end workflow perspective. And now with netcode for game objects and netcode for entities, where we really have to think about not just how do you build the game and the gameplay behind it, but we also want to think about how you launch this, how you can scale up, how this actually looks for like user acquisition and user retention. How is content delivery going to work? Because multiplayer isn't just about the gameplay. It isn't just about the netcode solution itself, which is sort of like single player didn't really have that issue. So now with netcode for game objects, we're looking at a lot more integration. We're looking at that end-to-end workflow, and that's becoming and giving everybody a lot more confidence that this is moving in the right direction and that we're considering both tech stacks. So it's kind of future-proofing itself with a lot of the solutions.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And when we take a look at our tools as well, we're like, these need to be used everywhere. The same workflow, the same experience needs to be everywhere.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Kiki. It looks like we have someone who wants to join us on stage, and we'll ask their question that way. So I'm going to invite them up to hear what kind of question they have. Maybe. Oh, okay, there they are. Hello, Vinod, did you have a question about multiplayer?
No, I don't have.
No?
No.
All right, no worries. Here's a question. Is there any movement on dots plus WebGL plus netcode via WebRTC or WebSockets?
So any way that dots is going to be supported on WebGL or WebSockets is going to be through the transport package that we have. So it's called UTP. It's also just called Unity Transport Protocol, or we call it Transport Package. All of them refer to the same package. And I have to I think that's it might be in experimental or pre-release for 2.0 of UTP, and that is supporting the web, and both netcode solutions are built on top of this UTP. So any of the web support coming through that single package is going to propagate into both of our netcode solutions.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, we can, if we have just a few more minutes, we'll need to prep for our next speaker to come on to talk about harnessing the power of ECS for Unity. So, but
Maybe I can answer a question from that guy behind. Very interesting one related to other industries and gaming. So that's something
yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Go for
something
it.
we So like other industry applying essentially gaming technology to other industries, something that we're looking into. I'm not committing on of everything. It's just like we get requests from like other industries say, hey, you have like some interesting things. At some point, maybe that's something that Unity could consider, like moving on forward, like how we use, I know, like the real-time communication, as you say, for instance, can be applied to other different set of like industry. But that requires like right now to think how we expose those services right now. Right now, they are really much like gaming services. And if you think about something like, construction or like, aeronautics, whatever that's going to be out there, you have a different set of problem. And reusing those technology to solve those problems requires like different set of product. So that's a very large conversation that, but we have among ourselves, like what we can do with what we have right now to use like what we have to do something else.
Awesome. Thanks, Alexis. Let's see. Do we have any more questions coming through? It's like Kiki's in the chat, definitely knocking out some of them.
Yeah, I'm trying. Some of them feel like I can just answer them quickly while the people are having conversations.
Yeah, totally.
Multitasking.
There we go. That's why there's so many of us here. Yeah, if you want to catch up with some of the people that are going to be speaking with us, some of them are active here on the Discord. We also have the Unity forums where other Unity developers are also really active. There you can ask questions and follow up with. Also, feel free to hit me or Benji up here on the Discord for questions, and we can try to chase them down internally as well for you.
I just want to also give a small plug to the Unity multiplayer networking Discord as well.
That's right.
All
We'll get a link
of
to that.
Yeah, all of the netcode for game objects, like big engineers themselves, are very active in that Discord. So if you're having some trouble getting started, or you have some questions, or you want to get involved in that community, I'm active there. They're active there. It's where a lot of people get their questions answered, probably the fastest. So highly recommend going there if you're interested.
Look at Alexi beat me to it. Dropped a link to that Discord in the chat for everyone. So yeah, that's like Kiki said, great place to connect with the networking team. Looks like folks are having trouble with that link.
So while we're sorting that out, Kiki, Alexis, even Antonia, anybody you guys want to, family, friends, teammates, you guys want to give a shout out while we have you guys here on stage?
I guess just a shout out to like everyone at Unity, honestly, and actually, I'd say everyone, even more broadly than that, everyone in the Unity community. So I actually yesterday hung out with the Unity insiders. So we basically have like many of you here who watch, YouTube tutorials will know that there are lots of very influential content creators that create YouTube videos. So Brackies is one that everyone knows. He stopped creating content about, I think, a couple of years ago because he's been doing it for so long. But there's Jason Wyman, Dilma, Sam Yam, Bargy, Turbo Makes Games. I'm trying to think who else. Dapper Dino, Code Monkey, and I got to meet a number of them actually yesterday, which was super cool. So I was freaking out because to me they're like celebrities. But everyone that uses Unity, everyone that like makes content and contributes to the community, that posts on the forums, that posts on the Discord, whether they work at Unity or they're kind of a Unity user and developer, whether you're just getting started or you're super experienced, like that community is what I credit for having, being in this industry. Like I'm completely I don't think it's fair to say I'm self-taught. I think I'm community taught. I think the people who learn and share what they're learning are entirely like to credit for everything I know. So I just want to do a shout out to everyone here who's tuning in. Anyone who uses Unity, especially if you share what you know with others in whatever format that is. I'm just super, super grateful. So yeah, thank you.
That's right.
Awesome.
You can't have Unity. Wait, no, scratch that. You can't have community without
There you
Unity.
go. There you go.
Yay.
There you go.
I got there.
How about you, Kiki?
I want to +1. I'm gonna be cheap. I'm gonna +1 that, but also my particular focus, very much so being a hobbyist, is on the indie community and just sort of how vivacious and ambitious everybody is, and just diving headlong into the multiplayer space. Like, props to y'all. Definitely shout out to Samyan. I met her at Unite, and she's super awesome. She finally released netcode for game objects tutorial. I think it's like 2 hours long. I'm just like, oh my god, I need to pick your brain about how this experience was for you. And I just am so appreciative of everybody just experimenting and programming and just downloading everything that there is on the docs to sort of get something started and create innovative gameplay in this like networked space, because it's intimidating. So props to everybody who's so interested and wants to get started in it. It's impressive.
Oh, I love it. There's crying in Discord, right? I mean, we're in a safe space here.
Yeah, it's safe. It's safe space. You guys cry, you laugh. It's all good.
Alexis?
Yeah, going to follow my colleagues on that one. Really shout out to all the people that give us feedback on our forums, over Discord, pinging us on Twitter, everywhere. We had the chance to work like with some amazing people so far that started to create like fun, innovative multiplayer experience, and they give us like so much like great feedback regarding how they use our product, and so everything we do on our roadmap is really clearly looking at what our customers are doing every day. And so yeah, keep that feedback coming. It's just going to get better over time. So yeah, keep doing it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kiki, Alexis, and Antonia for joining us today. And now to talk about GDC, and like I said, doing this Discord stage is something pretty new for us, but if our audience is thirsty for it, it's definitely something we will want to continue doing in the future, and would love to have you guys come back and connect with the community on the Discord stage in the future. Talk multiplayer, Antonio, talk XR stuff.
I would love that. I'll make sure I do it more formally next time. I just kind of randomly parachuted in today. But yeah, I'll set something up next time.
No, it's cool. Like I said, we want to recreate that sort of event feeling where you kind of walk by people, they're talking about multiplayer, they're talking about XR, they're when all of us are, like I said, we're living through those. You couldn't be there at the event with you, so really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us and chatting with the community.
Thank you so much. It's been a joy. Thank you.
All right, anyone else have any questions for Kiki and Alexis? If not, we won't keep them any longer. We already stole 20 more minutes from them than I think we had intended, which I really appreciate you guys sticking around.
Thank you so much for that.
I know it was fun. I hope it was also like fun and something that's useful for all the 81 people that are still with us for the past 53 minutes. So yeah, happy to do that again for another topic. We have some cool stuff, by the way. Right now we went really fast, but if you want to have me and some engineers going over like game server hosting for 50 minutes, we are ready whenever you want.
Love it. Like I said, and the actual session that was delivered at the Dev Summit today will be uploaded later on YouTube, I believe, or I think maybe in the GDC vault for those to check out.
We're also dropping another link again for developing a multiplayer game, so check that out in the chat. Let us know what you think.
Cool. All right. Well, doesn't seem like we have any more questions. So Alexis, Kiki, Antonia, you all are free to go or stick around if you wish. I know we were going to be joined by Isaac Shea in about 5 minutes to talk with us about harnessing the power of ECS for Unity.
Awesome. Yeah, I can stay on for 5 more minutes before
All right. Yeah.
Isaac hops on.
Sweet. Well, we can fill some dead air. Let's that's cool with me. What are you all playing any games? We're all, I'm assuming most of us are gamers, right? Playing any games?
Yes. Oh gosh, I think I'm trying to get through Kirby so I can play the newest one. Which, oh gosh, Kirby and the Forgotten something or other. It's like a remake of the older game. I think that's what I'm currently playing. Yes, Forgotten Lands.
Corby's Forgotten Lands. Oh, they corrected it.
Corby. That's my new thing, Corby.
Yeah. Very cool. I haven't played a Kirby game in a minute, so.
Full disclosure, I haven't played any until this one, and now I feel like I'm missing out. But luckily they released all of the older Kirby games on the Switch, like the old like SNES and other things like that. So I'm gonna go back and play them all.
That's
Now
always
I'm
a big jump to start later, and then having to contextualize everything that happened before because you want to feel like you've kind of gone through the entire experience.
Yeah, it's like reading the 4th Harry Potter book and be like, well, hold on. Wait a second. I'm gonna go back and read the first one.
Which is not a bad place to start if you think about it.
It's
No, it's like it's very intriguing. I got hooked.
Speaking of which, anyone else playing the Hogwarts Legacy?
I've not picked that one up myself quite yet.
Ooh. I've been having a ton of fun with that one too. I saw the movies, never read the books, always wanted to, but I felt like this. I mean, speaking about jumping back to what happened before, this really kind of scratched that itch about like the lore and the immersion and kind of getting all into it. I found that a really good method for that. So
yeah, that's one that I want to play. My manager, which some of you may be familiar with if you're looking at dots in the multiplayer space, Laurent, he's apparently has sunk in like 100 hours into the Harry Potter game.
I can totally see that.
So what you're saying is, if you see Laurent, don't challenge him to a wizard's duel, or you're gonna get smoked. Nice. Oh man. Well, it must be good. Laurent's sinking that much time into it.
Yeah, I wonder what house he's in.
Oh, I didn't even ask. It was a missed opportunity. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I didn't think either.
I wanted Slytherin. I hope it's no. I hope it's not.
Shout out to all the Hufflepuffs though. To all my Hufflepuffs.
I saw him yesterday. So I can ask him.
Wait, what? Antonia, what'd you say?
I saw him yesterday, so I can ask him what house is he?
Like no context, ask him. I want to. Like,
true.
He'd be like, "How did you know?" And eyes and ears everywhere. I don't know what you're talking about.
Then come back to the discussion chat we have and just drop it. Just drop it in there without context as well. People chat about whatever.
I come in like tomorrow and I just drop the word Hufflepuff. You'll know why.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Yes.
Anyone who's here will know, and no one else who doesn't will be like, "What?"
It'd be perfect.
That would be awesome.
I have to drop. Thanks again, like Duke and Trey. That was really fun. Thanks, Kiki. Thank Antonia.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, we'll have to have you back to the skin.
Hopefully, yes. More French, more like high-speed French.
Yes, give us that high-speed French. That's right.
Cool. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alexis. I'm keeping an eye out, see if Isaac shows up. We'll drag him up on the old Discord stage when he gets here. But it doesn't look like he's here quite yet. Oh, he is.
Woo.
Oh boy.
All right, I will hand it off to Isaac. Good luck.
Thanks, Kiki.
See you,
Thank you,
Kiki.
Kiki.
Awesome. Well, hello, Isaac. So, why don't you tell everyone listening in a bit about yourself and what was going on at GDC this year?
Hey, thanks, Trey. And hello to everyone on the call. I'm Isaac. I'm product manager of the Dots team here at Unity. I've probably interacted with some of you in the forums and Discord channels over the past year. So I'm quite excited to be here today to share some of the stories we are showcasing at GDC, and also to answer any questions you might have about Dots and everything in Unity. Maybe I can jump directly into what we're sharing at GDC. Currently at GDC, we've partnered with Justin from Sunblink Entertainment to present a talk called Harnessing the Power of ECS for Unity. And in this session, they actually discuss how ECS for Unity is bringing value to production of Heroish. Heroish is a castle defense brawler where we feature an ambitious single-player and competitive multiplayer gameplay. I should also give them a shout out. Heroish is currently available on all major platforms, including Apple Arcade. So I'm not sure whether everyone on the call knows about Dots or about ECS for Unity. So let me maybe share a little bit of insights into ECS for Unity and Dots. Dots stands for Unity's Data-Oriented Technology Stack. We've developed this technology suite to empower our creators to build more ambitious games with Unity. And Dots is really made up of three main components. First, we have the C# job system, the burst compiler, and thirdly, ECS for Unity. So if you've heard of C# job system and burst compiler, and you've used it in production, it's been available for production for some time now. And on the other hand, ECS has been in development for quite a long time. And after a sprint of development in 2022, we are finally able to bring ECS to be compatible with the Unity editor, engine systems and platforms, and we were able to release a fully supported version for 2022.2 TechStream and beyond. And we made that available in December 2022. One thing I should also note is that ECS for Unity doesn't necessarily replace the entirety of Unity, unlike what we initially